Well, Scar said, at least now you don't have to hang out with me behind his back. I turned on her and said, Scar, no. I don't want to be doing anything behind Aaron's back or anything that's against Aaron. He's one of my best, oldest friends. I said, if you're going to keep going on with this, I need to know what's going on. You've said that you tell me things and you just keep taking me places. I need to know what's going on if I'm going to keep doing this with you. She pursed her lips and nodded. I said, all right, I'll tell you. I'll tell you what I can. Is it okay if we start heading back to the park? It's a long way back from here. I said, all right, fine. We started back. Walking. Yeah, she reached into her pockets and... Sorry, it's been a while. But she reached back into her pockets and she was going through. She said, no, you'll need to understand. First off, we are trying to stop the people in the world of darkness. There's a race of aliens called the Profithians. Tall, gray heads, big black eyes. You've probably seen them on Roswell or something internet. They're called Profithians. They live in the world of darkness, and they abduct people. And I can't explain to you why. I don't know. All I know is my friend was abducted by them, taken from his home, ripped away from everything that he knew, had his abilities taken from him painfully, and was left on another world by them. And I know that I need to stop that from happening to others. How exactly I'm going to stop an alien race, I don't know. But I've got a better shot with you than I ever did before. I mulled over that, and she said, whatever the case, you're going to need to talk to Grant. He's the one who knows them personally. He'll be able to answer your questions. He's the one who taught me everything I know. I nodded. That sufficed. I said, all right. As soon as we can. Tomorrow. I want to talk with Grant. And Scar said, all right. I can make it happen. She pulled a portal out of her pocket from a stone and had me take hold of it and took my hand, and we traveled into some kind of red rock canyon area. There were no people around. I had no idea where we were, but Scar seemed to have some kind of gist. She pulled out her mobile and looked at a map for a minute of the topography. I'm not sure how the mobile had it, but she looked through, got an idea of where she was, and we started off. And yeah, she continued to explain about the world of darkness and said that we needed to cut it off before others just fell in. And I said, Kay, I don't understand this whole thing about falling into portals. I couldn't do it after you had explained what was going on. And if things just fell through portals all the time, why wouldn't I ever hear about Teletubbies walking around Earth? And she explained that there are different levels of complexity to worlds. The world of darkness is a world of high complexity, as is Earth, the highest tier that's out there. And beings from those worlds have an easier time dropping into other complexities. And those of lesser complexities have a harder time traveling upward along the scheme, which is why we don't see much, though sometimes we'll get a powerful creature like Bigfoot or fairies or, whatever it may be, though they never last for long before they manage to slip back to their own world. Yeah, she explained all that, and also explained that it all depends on your anchor world, that wherever you're from, you can only travel back and forth from that world. You can't just go willy-nilly in between different worlds. you always have to come back to your anchor world. And so they managed to slip back without too much trouble. I found that interesting. There were a lot of things that she said that I didn't completely understand and knew I'd have to think about more. We continued our way through this canyon and finally got to a spot where there was a patch on the wall that I recognized as a portal, some kind of just stone on the walls. And we reached out and touched the stone and came back to Earth in the middle of an office building, holding onto a paperweight. And Scar set it down and we made our way through. It was the middle of the night by this point, and so we snuck through this building and came out the entrance without setting off any alarms, which I was glad for, and looked out over the street, and Scar had to pull up her map again to see exactly where we were. We started walking our way through, and I was still holding Scar's hand, and I realized by this point that I'd become a good enough traveler that I didn't need to hold her hand every time. But I didn't say anything. We continued our way along, and I realized as the people that we passed stared that I was wearing a shredded jacket covered in Teletubby blood and food, and I thought, oh man, this is disgusting. I hadn't realized that I'd gotten used to the smell, if that's possible. But I was just glad to be on my way back home. We managed to get back to the park and got to my car. I said, do you need a ride anywhere? Scar smiled at that and she said, anywhere I need to go is closest by traveling. I said, that makes sense, all right. I said, Kate, let me know where to meet you tomorrow. I want to talk to Grant. And she nodded and said, all right, I'll take you. I'll let you know. For now, just get some rest and we'll get ourselves cleaned up. I said, all right. I drove back home and came in the door, and as I was walking through, my mom and dad were sitting on the couch and said, whoa, Reggie, what happened? And I was so tired by this point. Now was not the time to explain to them everything that was going on. I said, I was with Darren. It was true. His yard looks a million times better, but we're out of insecticide. And my dad said, how? And I said, I'll explain later. For now, I'm going to get this off of me. And they said, all right. I went into the bathroom, just dropped it all on the floor and took a nice hot shower. And that was one of the most incredible things that I had felt all day. After I finished, I stuck all the clothes in a plastic bag and took them to my room, and I had no idea what to do with them. They still stunk bad, and I still stunk bad, but I had to get rid of them, and I opened up the window and dropped them out. I'd take care of it tomorrow. And I changed into pajamas and went to lie down and noticed a paper on the bed. And on it were written 3 lines. Not long acquainted lead, but new. And one to worlds and one to stay, but both to darkness, both betray. I was not ready to think about it. I put it on my dresser and just went to bed. I woke up the next morning and went downstairs to get something to eat, and only once I'd started on breakfast did I realize how hungry I was. Oh my goodness. After all of the running and everything, I just ate a full breakfast, and thankfully my parents weren't up. I didn't have to explain everything to them. I still didn't know exactly how I was going to do that, though I was going to explain to them. I wasn't going to do all this behind their backs. I just had to find a good time for it. But I went back upstairs and looked up Profithians to kind of see if there was anything that corroborated what Scar said. And all I could find were weird abduction stories, and I mean, they kind of matched, but nothing was really credible. I knew I had to go to the people that knew what was going on. And I didn't want to just hear from Grant and Scar. I wanted to know what was going on with Darren. I wanted to hear the truth from him. So I grabbed my gardening gloves, grabbed the lawnmower, and went to Darren's house. It was Saturday morning. On the way out, my dad was up and said, "Hey, where are you headed?" I said, "I'm going to go help Darren with his lawn." He said, "I thought you were out there yesterday." I thought, oh, right, I told him that already, that I was out there. And I said, a lot of it was just spent doing cleanup. There's still some work to do, and I'm going to go help him out. I said, "Oh, all right, give him a hi for me." "Be careful around the insecticide." I said, "Thanks." And I went out, and I started mowing his lawn, hoping he'd come out, and he didn't. And I returned the lawnmower and went to work on some of the siding and cleaning up some of the other bushes. It was really starting to look good. The whole time Darren didn't come out, and part of me hoped that he wouldn't. I kind of didn't want to face him again after yesterday, but I had to talk with him. And eventually he came out the door. Long enough to drop a lot of money on the porch. And he went back inside, and I dropped the clippers and I ran and said, "Darren, I need to know what's going on. I need to talk to you." And he said, "Reggie, I've given you your chance. I've given you what I can. And I can't stop this." I said, "At the very least, let me know what's going on. I'm just trying to figure things out. And Scar hasn't shown me anything that's what you say, and she's told me things that I can't believe about you. I just want to know." And he shook his head and said, "You'll find out soon enough." I said, "Please, Darren, I don't want to fight you. I don't know what I want. I just want to understand." And he pursed his lips. And he said, "You will. You will." And walked back at the door and locked it. I didn't take the money. That's not what this was about. I went back to get cleaned up, took another shower, and that helped with all of the Teletubby from the day before. And as I came back into my bedroom again, on my desk there was a note. This one a lot longer than the one before. I picked it up, and I didn't completely understand it, but it said, "Sired in world of own shall be the saviour of the darkened. We that see not, lest a mind break forth, to free the lost, to right the course, when life of feather and reproof our path from thought to world of truth. Not long acquainted lead, but new, and one, the broken, guide him through, and one to worlds and one to stay, but both to darkness, both betray. And thus the gift shall take its course, and steed to driver, rider, horse, to end the rule a life required, when seer verse seer, the seer that sired to kill shall fall, and all shall see that all as once again shall be." End of chapter 7.